Live from the Business RadioX studio inside Renaissance Bank, the bank that specializes in understanding you. It's time for North Fulton Business Radio.
Welcome back, folks, to another edition of North Fulton Business Radio. I'm John Ray, and we are broadcasting, as usual, from inside Renaissance Bank in beautiful Alpharetta. Cooler Alpharetta, thank you. It is cooler and still beautiful. Hey, if you are tired of the mega bank experience that's impersonal and frankly soul-crushing sometimes, and if you're at one of those banks, you know what I'm talking about. If you're tired of that and you want a better banking experience for your business, here's what I would suggest. Go to Renaissance Bank. The clients that I've sent to Renaissance tell me that the Renaissance is big enough to handle the needs that they have, which is important, but they're small enough to deliver their services in a personal way. And that's a magic combination that's hard to find. Go to renaissancebank.com to learn more, find one of their local offices, and be in touch. Renaissance Bank, understanding you, member FDIC. And now I want to welcome Kate Seng. She is the owner, founder of Poe and Company Bookstore. Kate, welcome.
Thank you so much, John, for having me today.
Yeah, I'm delighted to have you. It's obvious what Poe and Company Bookstore does, but give an introduction to your work there and how you're serving folks more specifically.
Yes, so we are Poe and Company Bookstore in Milton, Georgia, and we are just about to get ready to celebrate our second anniversary on August 17th, which is very exciting.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we have all genres of books. We have a nice focus on children's books. We have a children's story time Tuesdays and Fridays at 10:30, which is generally packed. And Miss Pam is a wonderful addition to our team. She's a previous preschool teacher. She sings, she dances, she reads books, she gives out crafts and stickers, and it's just a great time for the kids and the moms.
Yeah.
We also have, all the time, we have events. We have authors coming in, all different genres, sharing their stories, sharing their passions, and that is super exciting for me. One of the things that I like to focus on, too, is our local authors, because here in Atlanta, we have so many. And as an author myself, it's very important to help people get their books out in front of others, to get books on the shelves, and just to support that community. That's one of the things we offer as well.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, you mentioned your backstory, so that you're an author yourself, and that's part of your passion here. Let's get into that backstory. And what was it? Just the fact that you're an author and understand the travails of trying to get your book out there that gave you the impetus to open the bookstore? Was there something more to it than that?
No, I think it's been a passion of mine for a very long time prior to me writing the children's books that I've written. And really, after seeing the movie You've Got Mail, where there's the community bookstore, the bookshop around the corner.
Yeah.
That kind of feel and flavor really motivated me. That's what I want. But it was a long time coming. I obviously worked in other industries, and then I took time off to raise my kids, and the time is right now.
I think the average person does not realize how well independent community bookstores are doing, right? They're filling a place in the market that the big mail order behemoth cannot. We won't mention that name, but everybody knows that name. And the chains that are left that do not fill. And that's really what you do quite effectively for your clientele in the Milton, North Fulton area.
Thank you. One of the things that we want to do and can do is build community, and that's hard to do through the mail. So it is really nice to have the people come in the store. And it's amazing how being in the store, working behind the desk, the relationships that you build with people in the community and the stories you hear and the inspiration, it's just really fascinating, the things that happen in the store. It's magical. So I'm grateful and thankful to be able to be in that position. And since COVID, across the United States, over 200 independent bookstores have opened up. And I think that speaks volumes. People want to be in the community. People want to be among other people. And while I have no problem with people who listen to audibles or who read on their laptop or their Kindle or whatever, there is something to having a book in your hand. And there is a community of people who want that,
right,
and who want to hang out in a bookstore and who want to be with authors. And it's encouraging.
Yeah, and you create an experience. That's the other word, right?
Really.
So that story time experience or the author signings or any of the other events that you regularly have at the bookstore are an important aspect of what people are looking for as well.
Correct.
Yeah, great work. Why Milton? Why that location?
When I was getting ready to open the store, I knew it had to be practical and close to where I live.
Mm-hmm.
We've lived in the Atlanta area for the last 9 years, but in Milton specific for the last 4. So when I saw the newer development on Heritage Walk, I thought that was a perfect fit for what I was looking for.
And if you don't know where that is, folks, it's right in the middle of Crabapple, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, right near the City Hall and that whole development right there. Yeah. So let's talk about your children's books, because I want to make sure we shout that out. How did you get into writing for children?
That's interesting. I started writing a novel quite a while back. It was started out as a short story and then evolved into a novel. And my mom kept saying, I think you should write children's books. You should be writing children's books. And I was like, stop, Mom, I'm not writing a children's book. But lo and behold, I put the novel to the side because I was just struggling to get through it, struggling to find the time and the resources and all of that. I started focusing on children's books and surprised myself at how much I really enjoyed it. So the first one I wrote back in 2021 is called Doodle Noodle. And it's a creative journey of a little girl who thinks her dog Noodle is lost. And so she thinks about all the artists that she knows in her life and the different types of art that they provide and how those people can help recreate Noodle to help bring her back. So one is the cake maker from the grocery store. One is a person who creates mosaics in a restaurant. The other one is a caricature artist at a fair. So it's just a kind of a whimsical little journey that she takes through trying to get Noodle home.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you come up with the story? And first of all, shout out to Mom. Mom was right.
Mom was right. Mom's always right.
That's the way it is for moms, right? They're usually right if you just listen to them. So how did you come up with that story? That's a cute story.
That's a great question. We're a very dog-friendly family. So even though I don't have a Doodle, that was a very popular dog. And so that's where that idea came from. But as far as the creativity behind the artistic approach to relocate or to finding Noodle, I don't know where that came from. It just flowed as I was writing it. And I don't always know where these things come from. But
right. But Mom saw it, that's for sure. It came right out. So do you have plans for more?
So my second one is a little bit more specific to my personal story.
Okay.
And it's the same characters, but in this one, the little girl Maisie finds out that she knows that she's adopted, but she starts to think through that a little bit. And as an adopted child myself, part of the reason I wrote that book is because sometimes the natural curiosity surrounding where you came from can be a little bit taboo as an adopted child. Is it okay to wonder about where I came from? And so my Maisie sorts through, where did I come from? But in the end of the story, it wraps back up to how happy she is in the family that she's been brought into and how much she loves her parents and her dog Noodle. And Noodle has an appearance in that as well. So,
oh, that's neat.
Yes.
That's neat. So you got more planned?
Yes. So the third one is in the works.
Okay.
It's called Posey's Full Pockets.
Okay.
And it's about a little girl who has all these things in her pockets, and her friends always make fun of her. What is all that stuff in your pockets? And what it is their memories that she's collecting.
Oh, wow.
And some of those memories she can recreate and some she cannot. And so she talks through that in a childlike way, but also in a way that an older adult reading the book would appreciate.
Yeah. Wow. That's terrific. I'm envious of your talent there. That's wonderful. That's terrific. So real quick, what advice would you give to someone that is a children's book author, that whether it's in putting the book together, marketing the book, what advice would you give them?
There's a couple things. First of all, I think being in a writing group has been super helpful for me. Listening to other people as they go through their struggles, their successes, and then also making sure you have a good editor, but also realizing that once you've written the book, that's not the end. The marketing side is a big, huge piece that you have to constantly work.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes authors don't recognize that, how big of a piece that is. So
that's really an important point, because it's an analogy is that we have people on this show constantly, and like they never share the show sometimes. And some of them do great. In fact, a lot of them do really great with it, but some of them don't share it. And they're expecting us to do it, which we do, but they would get so much more out of it if they would put some elbow grease into it themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So even if you write a fantastic book, if no one knows you've written it, there's not much you can do with that.
That's right. That's right. So let's talk a little bit about the store itself, and maybe is there any, you mentioned children's books, obviously. Do you have any particular orientation in terms of the genres, or are you pretty much across the board in terms of what you offer?
Yes, we offer everything. So we have all genres, and all different types of authors bring their books into our store, and we're excited to represent them.
So what goes into, when you open a bookstore, what goes into that people don't know, that because there's a romance to this, right? Like we were talking about the movies that are out there,
Sure,
bookstore owners and so forth. And it's like restaurants. There's a romance to this, but it's hard work.
It's hard work.
Yeah. And it takes a lot of effort that people don't see. What are the things that people don't appreciate about being a bookstore owner that you can share with them?
I think you have to join some groups to help get some insight into what makes a bookstore successful. And prior to going into business, I went around the country and interviewed close to 30 different bookstores.
Oh, wow.
And went in and saw each bookstore has a little bit of a different flavor. What does this bookstore want to show, or what does this community expect out of this bookstore? And so that was very eye-opening to me, but it was a lot of research to try to see what's successful or what the different flavors of bookstores are. Working with the ABA, the American Booksellers Association, has helped substantially, because they help you get started with a starter package, so that first inventory purchase isn't as overwhelming as it could be. And they say, let us help you make some selections to be successful. And then from that point, you can tailor it to your community. But there's constantly lists and book clubs, and Reese Witherspoon and Jenna and Oprah and all the different places that you're constantly researching to see, okay, what should we have in our store? And then you can't have everything.
Right.
So you've got to pick and choose.
That's got to be the toughest part.
That's
I
tough.
would think. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
But the nice thing is we do offer ordering. We can order for anyone, really. And usually our orders, most of the time they come in within 5 to 7 days. Some things can be back ordered, and some things that are very popular can be held up a little bit. But we do order books for people all the time, things that we don't have in stock. We're happy to do that. And we take suggestions all the time. If there's something we've missed the boat on, tell us. Or if there's an author you love and we don't have it, we want to know about it.
And I would think the other thing you've got to, that really takes some work is getting folks to come in the store and sample those experiences, right? Because I would think once people do that, then they're looking out for those, and they're looking for other those reasons that got them hooked to begin with to come in, like story time, for example. I would imagine you've got kids and parents that are regulars
We do.
at those story times now, right?
Yes. And really, there's two pieces to that. There's one, getting in front of the authors and the publishers and getting those authors in the store. As a new bookstore, you have to get on their schedules. You have to make relationships with publishers and with 8 people that are representing the different authors. So that's one piece of it. But then it's also getting the events out in front of the community so that you get people. Now, some authors have very big followings, so they control that on their own.
Sure.
But there's a lot that maybe don't have as big of a following, but we want those events to be successful too. So,
well, and that I would think that's a situation
definitely
for you, because if you've got an author that's got whatever following they've got, and they can pull that following into your store, then maybe they didn't know about your store before. Sure. That's a win for you, and obviously a win for that author to get more exposure for their book.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's terrific. So let's talk about the community support, because you have been really, you've dived deep into the pool when it comes to supporting worthy organizations in the community. So let's talk about that.
Some organizations that we support.
Yeah, and how you're doing that.
Okay, so we've worked closely with a couple of organizations. The one that we've worked with most closely is Blessings in a Backpack. There's a Milton location, and so we've tried to get twice a year, I should say, they give out books to children in their backpack program, food and books. And so we've helped them get those books donated, some of them purchased at a discount, and to help fill those backpacks. So that's one of the groups. The other group is the Succeed to Read program through Catholic Charities, and it's the same thought process. They get coupons are given out to families that can come in and select the books. One of the nice things about the program is they're all new books. So they feel like they've got a new title that's newly released. It's in good condition, and that's exciting. So we help them do that. We have an event coming up on September 13th from 5 to 7, and that is to support Jesse's House, which is a local nonprofit that provides emergency shelter and support for adolescent girls who have experienced abuse and neglect. So we will have a lot of different authors. I think there are 10 coming, and we're going to do a book sale and signing that day, and a percentage of those proceeds will go to Jesse's House. It'll be held at Stony Jay's Winery, the 13th of September from 5 to 7.
Near where? Stony Jay's Winery.
Stony Jay's Winery. You know what? I don't have the address right on the top of my head, but all that info is on our website if you go to Poe and Company Bookstore.com.
Awesome. And we'll have it in the show notes as well, folks. So, and that event, or that cause, I should say, Jesse's House, is a fantastic cause. We've had Jesse's House on this show before, and there are not many shelters for young and adolescent girls that need that kind of shelter. There are not a lot of them around, and they're always full. And Jesse's House can use all the support that they can get. So thank you for that work. Some good reads, wine, benefits Jesse's House. I think that's a great combination, right?
It is. It's going to be a fun time.
That's great. That's great. And again, that gets back to experiences, right? Because you're delivering experiences that you just can't find anywhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we're grateful to have knitting clubs, crocheting clubs that meet in our store. We have neighborhood book clubs that meet in our store. We have our own book club that meets the first Thursday of the month. And we just launched a middle grade book club. So it will be our second month of that in August. And my son, who's a senior at Kennesaw, is leading that group.
Oh, awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome. And what we need to alert folks to, because we haven't mentioned this, is the space that you have for these clubs to meet. So you've got a nice space. I can just hear people thinking, where all these groups meet with all the books around. But you've got a nice space in the back of the store where there's a nice place for coffee and whatnot, and a little conference room, right?
We do. We have a little conference room. And if your group breaks outside the boundaries of that conference room, we do have a stage area in the front, which is normally where our story time is and where our authors meet. But you're welcome to use that space as well, where we set up chairs, and it's a nice little area for bigger groups.
Yeah, that's terrific. And so is the conference room available for folks that want to have private meetings and that kind of thing?
It is, yes.
Okay.
And we have Wi-Fi as well, so you can come and sit down and work in there if you'd like. If it is after hours, we do have a reservation fee, and that you can call and still reserve that space, and we'll stay open late for you. So yes.
That's wonderful. Kate Seng is with us, folks. She is the owner of Poe and Company Bookstore. So I would be remiss. I've got a bookstore owner here who's familiar with all the great books that are out right now. What are some that what are the big sellers right now, I guess is the question. People are requesting and that you're getting a lot of great reader feedback on.
Yes. So we have for a summer beach read, a mystery that has some dark family ties to it. Summer's at the Saint by Mary Kay Andrews has been very popular. Mm-hmm. We've got The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store by James McBride has been very popular. Let's see. We've got certain books that have lingered around for a while that still seem to be hanging on, like Lessons in Chemistry, if you haven't read that. Then we have some new suspense novels from David Baldacci. And let's see. Oh, gosh. We have a whole section in the front of New York Times bestsellers and then a whole table in the front full of new releases. And those change every Tuesday. A new releases come out. So you'll see new books all the time there if you're interested.
Yeah. And you and your team are constantly recommending.
Correct.
So based on what you've read and what you've heard from folks that have read that. Yeah.
Yes.
Terrific. Kate, this has been great. And I can't imagine there aren't some folks that wouldn't want to know more and how to be in touch and how to order from you if they can't make it into the store on a regular basis. So let's give them all that information.
Yes. And you can call up and place an order by phone. You can also order gift cards and e-cards that way as well. And our number is 770-797-5566. And our website is Poe, P-O-E, and A-N-D, companybookstore.com. And we're on Instagram and Facebook as well. On Instagram, we're at Poe and Company Bookstore, LLC. And on Facebook, we're Poe and Company Bookstore.
And there's no truth to the rumor that Edgar Allan Poe haunts the place at night, right?
He does not haunt the place at night.
Even though he was inspiration, right?
Yes, because my father, who passed away 4 years ago, his favorite author was Edgar Allan Poe.
There you go.
And we used to listen to some creepy stories as young kids, which may or may not be appropriate.
That's right. Kate, this has been great. Thank you so much for the great work you're doing and your team is doing here in the Milton and North Fulton area and the contributions you make to the community. We're just delighted you could come in and we could shine a light on that work.
Thank you so much, John. I'm so thankful to be here today.
Thank you. Hey, folks, just a couple of quick things before we let you go. If you are looking for classic cook-to-order Italian food, Casa Nova Italian Restaurant is your ticket. They have been around for a quarter of a century. It's hard to believe, but Maria Fandora and her family do fantastic work, and they were farm to table before that was cool. So the fresh tomatoes and fresh corn and peppers and zucchini and herbs that they grow in their garden behind the restaurant all go into their cook-to-order dishes. I want to mention, too, that they are big supporters of pancreatic cancer research, and they've got an event coming up themselves on Sunday, September 15th. So you can support Jesse's House on the 13th, and then on Sunday, the 15th, go support pancreatic cancer research at the Pillars of Hope Gala that Casa Nova will be supporting and Purple Pansies will be putting on. Maria Fandora has been active in both. And if you want more information, go to purplepansies.org. If you want more information on the restaurant, go to casanovarestaurant.com. And don't forget their catering, by the way. And speaking of having a book out, I've got a book out. It's called The Generosity Mindset, A Journey to Business Success by Raising Your Confidence, Value, and Prices. So if you are a professional that sells your expertise, a consultant, a coach, attorney, CPA, accountant, what have you, marketing professional, this book may be for you. We talk about value, positioning, business development, and pricing. And guess where you can get the book? at Poe and Company Bookstore. They've got signed copies there. So if you want to go there and pick up the book, that's a perfectly wonderful place to do that. And if you want to find out more about the book, you can go to my website, thegenerositymindset.com. Also, I want to give a big shout out to our listeners. I didn't know how far this show would go when we started it 8 years ago, but here we are coming up on episode number 800, and we've only gotten that far because of you. You continue to support us in so many ways. You send us great guests. You support the show on social media and share the show and tell your friends about the business leaders that we interview, and we're just so grateful for that support because it's about supporting business in our community and giving business a place to tell their story that they wouldn't otherwise have, and to be the voice of business in North Fulton and beyond. And thank you for helping us live into that mission. So for my guest, Kate Seng, I'm John Ray. Join us next time here on North Fulton Business Radio.